Now at 9, high school graduation requirements are changing in Kansas. We're going to see what's now expected of students. Plus, how the city of Joplin managed to hire enough staff to open 2 public pools this summer. And we'll meet some Webb City students who went viral on TikTok for their talent show performance.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
This is KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14. I'm Tanya Bach. For the first time in 2 decades, Kansas high schoolers will soon have new graduation requirements. The new requirements start this fall with the incoming class of 2028. KOAM's Fernanda Silva has the details.
Students are always thinking about the future, and that's the goal of it. The state is asking us to align their individual plan of study and the course requirements that they have throughout their tenure in high school.
Bexar Springs High School Principal Corey White believes the changes in the graduation requirements are positive for these students and also don't change too many things for this school.
We've had to move some things outside the school day. One be driver's education, because we used to offer it during the school day. Now we're going to move that outside the school day to accommodate those changes. Been some minor things for us.
Columbus High School Principal Dan Grundy also believes the new requirements will be beneficial.
When you're looking at change, you're looking at growth. So I think that it can't all be bad. So I mean, there's a lot of components to this that I think will see improvement for kids.
Among the changes, high school seniors will now have to complete the free application for federal student aid. But there are options around that. Parents can file a waiver and superintendents can also make exceptions. The old requirements have been in place since 2005. Back then, the middle schoolers who are now going to high school and are going to be affected by the change were not even born.
Now we're trying to meet the needs of students. They may have lost some academia, if you will, when they're away from school. So now we're putting structures in school in place, to meet those needs as students come through now.
The number of credits to graduate remains the same, but some changes to credits were made. Instead of 4 credits of English language arts, for example, students will now need 3.5 credits of ELA and 1.5 credit of communication. The updated graduation requirements also include students' completion of at least 2 post-secondary assets.
I think the biggest impact for us as a school is just making sure how we check that these things are being done. A lot of our kids are having community service, playing sports, scoring well on academic areas. And we're just going to have to be able to document that all students are meeting 2 of those things.
Fernanda Silva, KOAM News.
You can learn more about the new Kansas high school graduation requirements and what it means to your student on our website at KOAMnewsnow.com. Fort Scott Community College today named an interim president after Dr. Jason Kegler was placed on administrative leave earlier this week. The school's Board of Trustees has chosen Sarah Sutton, an FSCC grad who also has a master's degree in educational leadership from Pitt State. In a press release from FSCC, the college says, quote, "We are working as hard as we can for the future of our students, our employees, and our community," end quote. The school has not offered an explanation for Kegler's suspension. Chief Meteorologist Doug Heddy joins us with a first look at weather.
Well, it turned out to be a warm, humid day for us today. Temperatures shot into the mid-80s for highs. Above our average high, 79, started at 62 degrees. We've had a couple isolated little tiny guys in our western counties, but most of us dry, still sitting into the mid-70s out there. Case in point, 76 in Stockton, Anderson, Grand Lake, 75 in Pittsburgh. We have 76 in Chanute. All right, you can see a few little thunderstorms that popped up in our western counties, but they're so far from the boundary, which you can see right here on the radar out toward Dodge City, that they just can't sustain themselves. So really, I think rain chances are pretty much done for us tonight, but we are going to see those rain chances picking up for us by the time we head into the morning. So pretty quiet through the overnight hours, and then here comes a cold front. Scattered showers and thunderstorms will start to pick up by morning. We're going to talk more about that here in just a bit.
All right, thanks, Doug. The city of Joplin says it's hired enough staff to open 2 public pools this year. Both the Schifferdecker and the Cunningham Aquatic Centers will open next Friday, May 31st. They will both be open 7 days a week from 1 to 6 p.m. and 1 to 8 p.m. on Fridays. In recent years, the city has not been able to hire enough lifeguards to open multiple pools. But this year, things are different.
We increased our pay. We are also paying for the lifeguard certification and their uniforms. I think that was a huge part of getting more people. We also added 15-year-olds.
And you can learn more about each pool's amenities and prices on our website. Well, some Seneca, Missouri students today spent some time helping out the Seneca Cemetery. The students are part of the FFA, and today they planted American flags by the graves of veterans to honor their sacrifice to keep our country safe.
What is that about?
This is just a good way for us to say thank you to the people that have served our country and put their lives on the line for us, and to show us like how grateful we are for them and for what they've done for our country.
Well, believe it or not, FFA is a whole lot more than just the farming and the production side of it. There's the leadership side, citizenship side, and all that. And this one ties in with our citizenship committee, actually. And we try to teach our kids to give back to the community. The community does so much for us. We couldn't even list all of the things that they've done for us.
The flags will be on display through the 31st when the students return to pick them up. 5 students at Webb City have gone viral after a video of their talent show performance was posted to TikTok. The video now has more than 5 million views and over 800,000 likes. KOAM's Anthony Saviello met up with the 5 8th graders to get their reactions to their newfound fame and their whole reason behind the performance.
What started as a simple dance performance at the end of year Webb City talent show has now blown up into an online sensation.
We were having fun. All of us were having fun from the start. Like it didn't feel as much of a practice as more of just like, oh, hey, let's hang out after school type thing.
These 5 8th grade boys who can usually find themselves on the football field may now have a new calling.
It pulls on my teacher heart. It's like, I'm not gonna lie, like almost ugly cried when they started because I'm just so proud of them for being willing to do things that's not typically in their wheelhouse. So just so proud of them.
Chandra Spence is the whole reason the performance happened in the first place. The math teacher of these boys last year had to deal with their antics throughout their time in her math class.
You are my fire, the one desire.
But instead of criticizing them, she encouraged them to express themselves.
That's what made them happy, then that's what we were going to do. It wasn't hurting anybody else, I mean, maybe disrupt the class a little bit next door, but it wasn't hurting anything, and we just made it where we had fun, and it became like a family group, and they were safe, and they enjoyed being there and would want to come to class.
However, teacher Nathan Holstein wanted to make sure the boys made up for their 7th grade math shenanigans.
So hearing all the stories about Mrs. Spence's math class and knowing what I remember about being in junior high, it's one of those things is I don't want kids to ever leave with regrets. I don't want them ever leaving without having great memories. And that was the thing that I just had this idea. I was like, hey, I got an idea. And usually when I say that around here, people get nervous because it usually means something fun's gonna happen, but they're involved.
Now these 5 will go into freshman year with a few more talents added to their resume and maybe a little hint of fame. Reporting in Webb City, Anthony Saviello, KOAM News.
Well, the boys even took the time today after their interview with Anthony to show him a few moves. Right now you see them dancing to Wobble. There you go, Anthony. He's got the moves. They also gave him an autographed picture and did a little photo shoot as well. That's awesome. Well, coming up, what new research shows about how daily use of marijuana compares to daily drinking? A simple blood test to detect colon cancer could move a step closer to approval by the FDA. The blood test is called SHIELD. It screens for early signs of colorectal cancer. A panel of expert advisors to the FDA were set to evaluate data on the screening test this week and vote on whether it is safe and effective. If SHIELD receives FDA approval, it will be the first approved blood screening test for colorectal cancer that meets requirements for Medicare reimbursement. With a growing number of states allowing the medical or recreational use of marijuana, stigma around the substance continues falling. This all comes as researchers are revealing new findings on how daily marijuana use has surpassed daily alcohol consumption. Fox News' Chris DeMeo takes a closer look.
The results of a new study are shedding light on the growing popularity of cannabis use, citing how for the first time in the U.S., more people are using marijuana pretty much every day compared to those who consume alcohol at the same rate.
Back in 1992, there were about 10 times as many Americans who would report daily or near daily use of alcohol as compared to daily or near daily use of cannabis. And in 2022, for the first time, it reversed.
Researchers at Carnegie Mellon University analyzed decades of data. Back in 1992, they found less than 1 million people claimed to use marijuana on a near daily basis. Fast forward to 2022, and that number surged to a little under 18 million. That same year, roughly 15 million people identified themselves as near daily alcohol drinkers. While overall alcohol consumption is more frequent than marijuana use, the reasons contributing to the surge in daily cannabis habits vary.
Some of it is just a general repositioning of the substance in society so that it is less stigmatized or disapproved. And also there's fewer literal risks of using in a criminal justice sense. But also importantly, prices collapsed.
But experts caution how smoking marijuana this often can lead to health concerns.
Cannabis smoke has carcinogens. It has about the same amount of carcinogens per gram as when smoking tobacco. People are using fewer grams per day than a tobacco smoker, but when you're using daily or near daily, the total load of carcinogens is not necessarily negligible.
Chris DeMeo, Fox News.
Well, Doug is next with a complete look at your forecast, and later several area schools are playing today in state tournaments for baseball and softball. We'll break it all down.
Well, it turned out to be a warm, humid day for us today. Temperatures, they made it all the way up into the mid-80s for afternoon highs. Looks pretty good right now. It is breezy, which you can see the flags blowing downtown Joplin. Looking from our Cornell Arts and Entertainment Complex tower cam, of course, at 7th and Joplin Street. All right, look at our temps. Right now we're sitting mid to upper 70s. Slow drop tonight. We're only going to fall back into the upper 60s to near 70. Currently outside sitting at 77. South winds 5 to 15, but gusts have been a little bit higher than that. We have those sustained winds at about 10 to 15, and we're going to have gusts near 20 through the night into the morning hours. Now, as we go into tomorrow afternoon, a front rolls through. They calm down, then they pick up again. On Saturday, we'll have gusts kind of 20, 25 miles per hour. So if you're going to be on some of the area lakes, watch that. Makes docking a little bit tricky, and of course the water a little rougher. All right, I had a few isolated little guys skirt our northwestern counties. Besides that, they just really can't hold together, so we look pretty good. All the big time severe weather tonight is going to be western parts of Oklahoma, and then this line is organizing and will head toward us by morning. Most likely not severe, but a line of showers and thunderstorms heading our way. These will start to die out once we get through the next couple hours, but you can see that batch kind of forming out to our west. Here's our upper level wave pushing into the northern plains, and most of the energy stays to our north, but still drags a front through tomorrow, changing our weather up just a little bit. Severe threat tomorrow, we are a level 1 out of 5. Higher threat once you get down toward Table Rock, Beaver Lake. Most of us are in this level 1 out of 5 for a few isolated thunderstorms. Much higher threat on Saturday evening and night, level 3 out of 5. The higher threat's going to be on the Kansas and the Oklahoma side. All right, let's go through tonight. Pretty quiet. Scattered showers and a few thunderstorms drive through during the morning hours. Any stronger storms are going to be in our southern counties once we get into the afternoon, and then they drive out of here. But you can see a couple cells 6, 7 p.m. So a few of those, again, Table Rock Lake, Beaver Lake, you guys may get a few stronger storms as we get into tomorrow evening. But most of us won't have to deal with severe weather. Saturday is going to be fine. It's Saturday evening and night. Storms fire to our west. If they can pop up, they got to go through the cap. Looks like they will, and drive in, and those will most likely be very strong to severe. 69 in the morning, 76 by noon. High temp, 80 degrees for us tomorrow. And we're going to make Saturday an alert day. High temp of 87, 84 Sunday, 78 on Monday. We'll talk more about the storms on Saturday in our second half hour.
Okay, well, yeah. We need to keep an eye on that. So
We do.
Idea. All right, excited to learn more.
All right.
Thanks, Doug. Well, it is a World Turtle Day. I bet you didn't know that. The shelled reptiles come in many varieties and live in a wide range of habitats. Now, you may see some of the land-loving ones around here crossing the road this time of year. According to the Missouri Department of Conservation, there's more to these creatures than meets the eye.
Turtles have been on this planet for about 200 million years. So you think about all the changes that have come to this planet in that time period. Pretty unique that they've been able to hang around that long. So, deserve a little bit of respect for that.
Another fun fact, the gender of some turtle species is determined by the temperature of the ground where the eggs hatch. Well, coming up, pushing back against extreme fees.
The federal government has filed a landmark lawsuit against Live Nation and Ticketmaster, calling the company an illegal monopoly. But will it mean cheaper concerts for fans? I'm Caroline Shively in Washington. I'll have some answers coming up.
The IRS has extended its free file tax program through 2029. The agency partnered with several tax preparation companies to offer filing software free for taxpayers. Now this year, nearly 3 million people used the program to file returns. That's a 7.3% increase from last year. Well, the Justice Department is going after concert and ticketing titan Live Nation, which merged with Ticketmaster. Attorney General Merrick Garland alleges the company is a monopoly, which crushes competitors and uses its status to charge outrageous fees to consumers who have no other choice. Fox News correspondent Caroline Shively reports from Washington.
The good times could soon be over for Ticketmaster and its parent company, Live Nation. The Justice Department says it's time for the two to break up.
Live Nation has illegally monopolized markets across the live concert industry in the United States for far too long.
On Thursday, the Attorney General, along with 29 states and D.C., filed a landmark antitrust lawsuit against Live Nation, alleging the company suffocates the competition by using threats and retaliation to keep a stranglehold on the market. The government says Live Nation controls at least 80% of major concert venues, manages 400 artists, and controls more than 60% of concert promotions in the U.S.
Live Nation Ticketmaster acts as the gatekeeper for an entire industry, reaching its proverbial hands into every stage of the concert life cycle, from who promotes the shows to where they happen to how they are ticketed.
The Justice Department claims that hurts artists, promoters, and fans like these who have sued Live Nation for fraud and price fixing.
I think that the business model that Ticketmaster Live Nation has is not working. It's harmful to consumers.
I'm tired of not knowing what I'm paying for. I'm tired of only having one choice for tickets.
Live Nation says it will fight the government's lawsuit, claiming the allegations are baseless and ignore the basic economics of live entertainment. In Washington, Caroline Shively, Fox News.
Well, Volkswagen is voluntarily recalling nearly 80,000 of its ID4 electric SUVs. The National Traffic Safety Administration says it's over display issues. The agency says a software malfunction causes the instrument panel to sporadically reset or not boot at all. The model years affected are 2021 to 2023. Up next, the Salvation Army is celebrating the end of the school year with a bash for local students. The school year is ending for many students in the area, so the Salvation Army of Jasper and Newton counties is celebrating with an end of school bash. They hosted an airsoft battle at KDK Airsoft in Joplin for local students. The only admission cost was a donation of non-perishable food to fill the organization's pantry.
Something to get the youth out and about, and it's always nice to have something that you can go to where it'll be a safe environment for everyone involved. And the drive we're doing is for the pantry for food to help feed people that are in need.
Before the battle began, they had a safety briefing to make sure no one would get hurt. 30 more minutes of news, weather, and sports coming your way. If you're planning to go camping this weekend, we'll have some tips to make sure you stay safe from the possible storms. Plus, we've had an active tornado season, but what are forecasters expecting for hurricane season?
You're watching the 4 states' most watched news.
This is KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14. I'm Tanya Bach. Memorial Day weekend is known as the unofficial start to summer. Many are heading outdoors and may want to unplug from their phones. With storm chances this weekend, that might not be the best idea. As Nicolette Zangara reports, several ways to receive warnings should be part of your plans.
Your phone is a great resource for weather information, but what if you don't have signal on a lake or at a campsite?
If you don't have cell phone service, that battery-powered weather radio is always a good idea. And then sometimes campers, vehicles, boats, they have AM radio. You can always find an AM weather station on those as well.
Hill says sometimes park rangers will patrol campsites to warn visitors if storms are moving into the area, but it's not a guarantee. Consider shelter options ahead of time. Many campsites do not have one on site, so you may have to drive several minutes to safety.
We don't actually have designated tornado shelters in our campgrounds. Those are located in the town of Stockton and the town of Greenfield and obviously some other outlying towns as well.
Storms can especially ramp up over water, increasing the lightning risk as water is a great conductor for electricity. If you're boating, keep an eye to the sky for dark clouds and listen for thunder. Keep in mind boating safety as well. Hill says Memorial Day typically has the highest amount of accidents compared to any other holiday weekend.
Everybody's been cooped up all winter and they're ready to get going. They're ready to get out on the lake, and that requires being safe as well.
Well, we're in for an active storm season this year with the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration predicting an above average 2024 Atlantic hurricane season. NOAA predicts 17 to 25 named storms from June through November, the highest number ever for this May outlook. 8 to 13 are forecasted to become hurricanes, and 4 to 7 could become major hurricanes with maximum sustained winds of 111 miles per hour.
Now is the time to prepare and stay prepared. Remember, it only takes one storm to devastate a community.
On those Category 5s, the average lead time was 50 hours. Preparedness, got to be ready for these storms.
The National Weather Service says in the last decade, 90% of fatalities resulted from water, most from rainfall, half of which are people stuck in cars. A bit later, setting sail without breaking the bank.
Cruising is riding a wave. Coming up after the break from Port Miami, we'll tell you why so many people are jumping on board.
Well, of course, a warm, humid day for us today, but most of us seeing a pretty good evening. We have a nice shot of our Cornell Arts and Entertainment Complex tower cam. A little windy out there, and it's going to stay breezy as we go through the overnight hours, but temperatures, they are great. Look at this. Across the board, we're sitting mainly into the mid to upper 70s. Looks good. 7th and range line. We have those southerly winds, which are kicking in 5 to 10 to 15, and at times, we're going to get gusts near 25, maybe even 30 by the time we head into the morning hours. All right, had a few little isolated thunderstorms kind of skirt our northwestern counties, but they're so far away from the boundary or the front, they just couldn't sustain themselves. So nothing really is going on out here. So we should stay dry tonight. Some thunderstorms, southern parts of Oklahoma will not affect us, but this band will. This will eventually be a severe line that marches south and east, and it will make it in here by morning. Now it's going to weaken by the time it does. Upper level low is way up by Rapid City, so most of the energy is staying across the northern plains. But we do have a low severe threat tomorrow afternoon, level 1 out of 5. Along the I-44 corridor, a little bit better threat once you get down toward Table Rock and also Beaver Lake. Now, a bigger threat as we go into Saturday, level 3 out of 5 on the Kansas and the Oklahoma side, level 2 out of 5 on the Missouri side. So let's go through this. We'll walk you through showers. A couple thunderstorms work in here, 7 a.m., press through. So here's the noon hour, and then here's the front. So as the front slides in, redeveloping in the afternoon along the front, but any bigger storms, they're going to be down toward Beaver Lake or Table Rock. So of course, big boating weekend. Watch out for those storms as we get into tomorrow evening. Then we clear out. All day Saturday is going to be fine. It's going to be warm, windy, upper 80s for highs. Then we focus out to the west. We need about 6 ingredients to come together, and we have definitely 5 of them. If we can get one more, thunderstorms will erupt and be severe out across central Kansas. This is going to be Saturday evening and drive in. Now with these storms, we'll have the potential for large hail, gusty winds, and tornadoes. So especially if you're camping at the lake, we want to pay attention to these guys as we get into Saturday night. High temp of 80 tomorrow, of course, the scattered little thunderstorms, and behind those storms on Saturday, the rest of the holiday weekend looking pretty good. Here's Sunday, lower 80s, partly sunny skies. Memorial Day itself, upper 70s to near 80 degrees. Majority of the weekend looks good, except Saturday night. So an alert day Saturday for that severe potential. Scattered thunderstorms tomorrow, high temp of 80. 84 on Sunday, 78 on Monday. Thunderstorms and a severe threat back in late next week. We got about 2.5 more weeks, 3 weeks officially of severe weather season. And it's been a wild one.
Yeah, it has. It's been very busy. Very busy. All right. Thanks, Ted.
You bet.
Well, the Shoal Creek Conservation Education Center invites the public out to a native plant sale this Saturday from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. The center will make available for sale native plants for landscaping needs, as well as information about the benefits of planting native species.
Plants are really beneficial to people as well as wildlife, which is kind of why they're so special. They're really awesome for pollinators. They're great for, like I said, our wildlife here in the area, because they are plants that are here without being introduced or planted. So they're perfectly adapted to the climate that we have here in the state because they occur naturally.
This event is free and open to the public. Coming up in sports, 6 of our local high schools from Southeast Kansas will make it to state in softball and baseball. John Dales has all the highlights and scores from a busy day on the diamond. Up next.
It's state tournament time for Kansas high school baseball. Colgan, Frontenac, and Pittsburgh all playing quarterfinals this afternoon. We start out in Manhattan on the campus of Kansas State. The Frontenac Raiders take the field against the Burlington Wildcats. Pick it up in the first inning. Burlington strikes first. This ball smashed into the gap, hits the wall. The Wildcats put 2 on the board. They take a 2-0 lead after the RBI double. Now the very next pitch, Mickey Carlson singles back up the middle. Burlington scores another and jumps out to a 3-0 lead in the first. We go to the second. The Raiders would respond. Peyton McDonald, with the bases loaded, sends one right back up the middle. Frontenac makes it interesting. Raiders trail 3-2. We jump ahead to the top of the 7th. Frontenac down 4-3. Corbin Nix sends a heater into center field. We're tied at 4 apiece. Raiders would then take the lead later in the inning off a balk. So to the bottom of the 7th, last chance for Burlington. Called strike 3. Cal Turlip has time to pick it up and throw over to first for the final out. Frontenac wins a wild one. Raiders hang on for the 6-5 win and advance to the Final Four. Now the 5A quarterfinals, Pittsburgh against Salina. South, we're tied at 1 in the bottom of the 7th, and Weston Rink draws a walk. Bases loaded, full count, 2 outs. Carson Nicholson hits a foul pop, and Salina South corrals it. That means we're going to extra innings. In the 8th, things get a little weird. In the pouring rain, Salina South lays down a perfectly placed bunt to score the go-ahead run. So now the last chance for the Purple Dragons in the bottom of the 8th, and Tucker Akins sends one all the way to the wall in left field for a double, but he gets stranded there, and Pittsburgh's season ends in the quarterfinals of the 5A state tournament. Purple Dragons lose to Salina South 5-3. In the Class 2-1A quarterfinals over in Great Bend, Colgan dominates Colony Crest 10-1. Panthers advance to the Final Four. They'll play the number 1 seed Mission Valley. That game scheduled for 1:15 tomorrow afternoon. Then over in Missouri, Nevada's playoff run ends in the Class 4 quarterfinals. Tigers fall to Blair Oaks 7-5. They finish the year 23-6 as both district and sectional champs. It's quarterfinal Thursday for Kansas high school softball as well. Fort Scott, Colgan, and Frontenac are all in action. We start with Fort Scott. The Tigers fall to Circle 7-1 in the quarterfinals, just not their day. They finished the year 20-6. Over in the 2-1A tournament, Colgan softball season comes to an end as well today. The Panthers got the tying run on base in the final inning, but ultimately fall to Dexter Cedarville 4-2. They finished the year 15-10 with a regional championship. And in Topeka tonight, Frontenac softball faces southeast of Saline in their state tournament. In the circle, Avery Johnson, she did not disappoint. Johnson strikes out 10 hitters in the first 4 innings. We go on to throw a complete game and finish with 14 total punch-outs. We go ahead, top of the 6th. Frontenac trails 2-1, but Johnson gets some good defense behind her. Ella Sullivan makes a nice play, catching a line drive at first, puts her team out of the inning. Later, Bats went cold for 6 innings, but in the bottom half of the 6th, Skylar Hutchinson hits a clutch 2-out RBI single. That ties the game. It's 2-2 heading into the final inning. So bottom of the 7th, bases are loaded with 2 outs, and Avery Johnson has a chance to be the hero. She's at the plate and hits this one into right field. The 2 outfielders collide. Ball drops down. That's the ball game. Frontenac walks it off. Lady Raiders win it 3-2 and advance to the Final Four in the Class 3A state tournament. Closing things out with collegiate summer baseball, the Joplin Outlaws begin their 2024 season on the road. Game not done yet, but they lead 10-3 in the 7th inning over the Sherman Shadowcats. These 2 teams will play each other again tomorrow night. That's a look at sports. Back with more news after this.
Americans are ready to set sail as this year is expected to be a banner one for the cruise industry. Fox Business correspondent Ashley Webster is at the Port of Miami with more on what cruise lines are offering that has people waiting to jump aboard.
The sun is shining, the band has been warming up the crowd, and the swimming pool is filling up very nicely, thank you very much. You know, after the dark days of COVID, when cruise ships were docked for 18 months, the industry is now booming. In fact, cruise bookings last year hit 31.5 million. This year, it's expected to hit close to 35 million. The attraction is value for money, unique experiences, and a growing number of younger customers who like smaller, personalized cruises. In other words, there's something for everyone.
To try and duplicate the experience you're having on our ship, on a land-based vacation, it's going to cost you at least 30-40% more, and you wouldn't have that same ability to customize it that you do on a cruise ship. So when we talk about it's affordable, it's not just price, it's the value that you get out of it.
Not only are millennials and Gen Z taking up cruising, data shows 27% of passengers in the last 2 years had never been on a cruise before. But there are other trends as well, like themed cruises, everything from Kiss cruises to WWE. There's even a Hallmark Christmas cruise. And yes, next February there is a clothing optional cruise to the Caribbean. Bring lots of sunscreen. In Miami, Ashley Webster, Fox News.
Interesting. Well, coming up, we'll get a sneak peek of the new Garfield movie starring Chris Pratt as the lazy feline. Chris Pratt starred in the highest grossing animated film of 2023 as the voice of Mario in the Super Mario Bros. Movie. And now he's heading back to the big screen as the voice of the world's beloved laziest cat. Here's Fox's Ashley Dvorkin with the story.
We're gonna need the big scale!
Does she need to announce it to the whole office?
Chris Pratt brings a famous feline to the big screen for a new adventure in the Garfield movie.
As a kid, I used to open up the newspaper
and just pull out the comic strips and pull out the movie section and see what movies were playing and see what comic strips I could read. It's wild. It's wild now. Flash forward into the future sometime, and here I am doing a movie of Garfield.
Say when. Never, John. Bury me in cheese.
Pratt, who voices the lasagna-loving orange cat, says the animation captures the essence of what made the character popular.
The nature of Garfield, there are some through lines that are universally still true. He is pampered. He is sarcastic. He's got a biting sarcasm. He's lazy. He hates Mondays. He loves lasagna. Those are all still true.
He adds the film gives a fresh take on Jim Davis's popular comic strip.
What's changed is the world around him. Okay, so we're talking about a world where you can order a pizza with a touch of a button, where you can sit around and watch cat flicks. A world that's very suited for someone as pampered as Garfield. It makes him a perfect candidate to be in a fish-out-of-water adventure when he meets up with his, biological father, Samuel L. Jackson's Vic, who's, this scruffy outdoor cat, who takes him out of his comfort zone, of his perfectly pampered life, him and Odie, and put him on this hysterical heist.
You must be looking for another gorgeous, lovable kitty cat.
Garfield's wild outdoor adventure arrives in theaters Friday. In Hollywood, Ashley Dvorkin, Fox News.
One of my favorite characters from the past. And that's our time for tonight. Thanks for joining us. We're going to leave you with video of 2 black bear cubs at a San Diego Wildlife Center. Have a great night and an even better tomorrow.